You do a handshake? No? There's the teenage years. Pretty great. Actually, first off, John, there's no way in this earthly world you would know this, but today is my mum's 11th anniversary. And as we were talking there, I think my mum and your mum might be up there now looking down on us. You know, and I think they're probably proud of us. So that was, yeah. The world works in a weird way. You good? Maybe. Okay. Alright, so good evening everyone. My name is Maurice Barron, but most people seem to know me better as Candace's husband or Ava's dad, both of which you might find a bit on the unbelievable side when you see both of them next to me. I've often heard, people say, she married that guy? It's okay. I should start by saying I'm very much just a warm-up act tonight, and Ava and Candace will be up here shortly. But what I will do is I'll tell you Ava's story, what it's like to be parents of a child battling a very rare form of cancer, our amazing trip to Alani in Hawaii, and of course, how we came to know and love all of you good folks at Make-A-Wish. Now, fair warning, it's a bit of a roller coaster, but I promise you, you will all be smiling at me. And if you take two things from what I talked about tonight, please remember, right, one is you're not just granting a wish, you might actually be keeping a wish alive. And two, that trip is one thing, the wish trip, and that's something else entirely. So Ava's story really begins in April of 2020 when she was just a year old. Looking at her now, it's very hard to picture just how little she was then. She was just starting to walk, she wasn't talking yet, unbelievably, and still very much a baby. That April we ended up in the ER. We thought it might be a UTI or a kidney infection, but it turned out to be something so much worse. Ava was diagnosed with an incredibly rare form of kidney cancer called a malignant rhabdoid kidney tumor. Don't Google it. Just don't Google it. We transferred her to Memorial Sloan Kettering, where she had one of her kidneys removed. She had 11 rounds of radiation. She had 8 rounds of chemotherapy over about 9 months. She spent over 30 nights in the pediatric ICU. She had more blood transfusions than we could count. And we came far too close to losing her on more than one occasion. At that age, that type of cancer, her chances of seeing her second birthday were less than 1 in 10. To put her survival into perspective, in 2023, our team at MSK told us that since Ava had been diagnosed, they'd seen 5 other kids with the same type of cancer as Ava. Of those kids, Ava was the only one that was still alive. It is, as you can imagine, a kind of nightmare that every parent prays they never ever have to face. And for us, we had a very unique experience of doing it all during COVID. Candace and I were almost never in the hospital together. There was an incredibly strict one parent at a time rule at MSK to protect the kids in treatment whose immune systems were already so fragile. It's impossible to truly describe what it's like to be a parent of a child that went through Ava's treatment. And I'll be honest with you, even if I could describe it, I don't think I'd want you to know. But for perspective, I can tell you this. Candace knows what it's like to have Ava stop breathing in her arms. She knows what it's like to have to give your 13-month-old daughter a liquid oxycodone 6 times a day because she's in so much pain, it's the only thing that does. I know what it's like to have seen Ava being rushed out of the room for an emergency scan on her brain, but to have the chief of pediatric surgery at MSK tell his entire team to stop and tells me, Maurice, kiss her, tell her you love her, because he thinks I'm not going to see her again. As Ava's parents, those moments will forever be tattooed on our souls. But here's the thing. Ava's story, her journey, it's not really about those moments. As hard as it might be to believe, when you're faced with the reality that this might be the only time that you get the person you love the most, you learn to start stealing moments of joy every single day, and you wish and you dream about a future that might not be possible. And that's where our wish began. Now, like a lot of families, I think we thought we knew what Make-A-Wish was, but we really didn't. When talking with our child life team at MSK, our social workers, and actually the parents of the older kids, we learned more about Make-A-Wish. They were like, have you thought what our wish would be? What do you think Ava loves the most? Any ideas? Anyone who worked on the 9th floor at MSK, the Children's Hospital at MSK, when Ava was in treatment, they knew when Ava was in there. Not by looking at the board, but because they hear very specific songs, they hear characters and voices, and most importantly, Ava's laughter from a very popular movie that floated through the air. Now, I'm not sure if you've all heard of this very small independent movie called Moana, but I'm sure you all have, right? Now, not only did she love this movie more than anything, but she kind of looks like baby Moana. She's got the big eyes, the golden skin, curls, she's got the whole lot. And the idea of her wish started to grow from there. Now, our wish for her was not to be in a hospital bed, not attached to these machines, being forced to endure the treatments. Our wish was just to have a little girl with sand between her toes and an ocean in front of her. Picture it. Ava, it's baby Moana, on a beach in Hawaii, telling the ocean, "Fish pee in you!" Or the other part was imagining Ava and Moana getting to meet one another. And this wish wasn't just a trip, right? It wasn't just a trip or a vacation. It was a future we dared to imagine. A future we could look towards, even though that seemed so unlikely. And this is the key thing I want you to understand. By giving that wish, you're giving the child and the parents that strength to hold on through the worst days. It allows you to imagine a future that contradicts all of the odds that you've been given. After treatment ended and many years of scans, we finally got to a place where the risk for cancer returning became smaller and smaller. And that's when we finally got to meet our amazing team at Make-A-Wish. And we got to start to plan Ava's wish and see what it could be. Now, can I just say, one of my favorite things about Make-A-Wish and the amazing team here is how much joy that you guys genuinely get from planning it. Honestly, I actually think you guys get more excited than even me. Which brings me to the second thing I really want you to know. A trip to Hawaii is one thing, but a wish trip, well, that's something else entirely. Now listen, could I have gotten us to Hawaii? Sure. I'm a grown man, with a good job, a credit card, and an internet connection. I'm sure I'd have figured it out. But I could never have come close to the trip that Make-A-Wish put together for us. Now, from the moment we were picked up, it kind of felt like the world had quietly decided, right, this family's been through a lot. For this week, we're just going to wrap them in magic. So we're at the airport, we're guided through by all the United staff. Ava ended up in the cockpit of every plane we were on. Flight attendants brought her any gifts, then proceeded to cry when they met her because they knew her story, they saw her pictures, they saw so much. There were so many things that Make-A-Wish does that might not seem like a big deal to everyone else, but meant the world to us. The doctor you guys organized, right, that was organized by your team who was at the landing, was definitely one of those things. When you're thousands of miles from home, having a doctor who understands your daughter's extremely complicated medical history is a safety blanket that you never really needed. And that's the kind of invisible work that makes a wish trip possible for families like ours. How you guys understand our journey. We met other incredible Wish families and got to share in their journeys as they shared in ours. We had the most caring Make-A-Wish team with us, who somehow always knew what we needed, even if we didn't know ourselves. On our first day, we got Turtley the Turtle, a stuffed turtle who brought me straight back to those early days when we were dreaming of Ava as baby Moana on the beach. She's shooing the birds away. I'm sure you all remember that shoot. And of course, there were the moments with Moana herself. I'll be honest with you, there wasn't a person there who wasn't moved by seeing them both together. I think even Maui would have had a few tears in his eyes when seeing those two move for the first time. When you see those pictures of Ava, right? Do you see the one both feet off the ground, sprinting towards Moana? That's a moment you never forget. Oh, and the other thing you actually might not know about our trip was it rained for 2/3 of it. I mean, proper rain. I mean, this is an Irishman saying, wow, that's a lot of rain. And you know what? It didn't matter. The luau got cancelled. Okay, well, we're doing an inside luau. When Ava missed her friends or couldn't go swimming, they helped us find other kids for her to play with and fun games for all of them. We even found a Moana costume on the last day, even though it had been sold out for weeks. They knew where to go for the best pictures. I'm going to give you guys a life hack here. Do your family photos at 7 a.m. in the morning. It doesn't matter how stupid you think you are as you're fully dressed up going doing your photos. It's the best idea ever, so you should definitely do it. But for me though, as Ava's dad, there was one moment on that trip that I will never forget. So, probably maybe imagine this. So we're on the plane, we're starting our descent into Oahu. Ava is sitting on my lap and she's looking out the window. The sky is this like soft blue colour sees this impossible turquoise, and you can see the coastline getting closer. And she asks me, she says, Dada, is that right? Is that where Maui want to live? And in that moment, I am transported straight back to the night before LSK. I'm in that treatment room again. And I can see the IV codes, I can hear the beeping machines, all the tubes, the nurses and the doctors all around us. I can also see myself with Ava in my lap. And she's still connected to all the IVs and pumps. She is so small. She's so frail. She has no hair, no eyebrows, no eyelashes. Nobody ever tells you about the eyelashes. But in that moment, it feels like I'm whispering to them across time. And I'm telling them that it's going to be okay. That Ava is more resilient, tougher than even you can imagine. That you and Candace are stronger than you think. And that this will bind you together, not pull you apart. That every day you should keep wishing and dreaming about the future. Because a day will come, not so far from now, when this not so little girl, who now speaks in full sentences, with her long curly hair and those fluttering eyelashes, she will be sitting on your lap as you look at the window of the plane together. And you'll get to tell her, yes, Dad, that's Hawaii. That's where Maui and Moana is. You might think it's a long way from New York to Hawaii, but the distance from those days in treatment, that moment on the plane, is even further than you can imagine. And it was you, everyone here at Make-A-Wish, that built the bridge between those two moments. When I am 80 years old, that moment, that is where I'm going right now. So, I'll bring it back to these two things I want you all to know tonight. Trip is one thing, but a wish trip is something else entirely. It's not about flights and hotels. It's about giving a child part of their childhood back and giving the parents the gift of seeing this child as a child and not as a patient. You're not just granting a wish. Remember, you might just be keeping a wish alive. You're giving families something to hold on to when everything else feels like it's slipping away. So, on behalf of Ava, Candace, and myself, from the very bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for every dollar you raise, every hour you work or volunteer, every bit of effort that goes into making these wishes real. To all of you at Make-A-Wish, you may never fully see the distance that your kindness travels, but I promise you, for families like ours, that kindness travels a very, very long way. Thank you.